Hello and welcome to Sacred MindShift Circle. I'm your host, Dahlia Deborah Donalds, and today I'm joined by Irish Robertson, who, if I may say, is on an inspirational and bold mission to take back crystals for Christians. She's a talented jewelry artisan who makes handmade crystal pendants and earrings, redefining their use from a Christian context. In a world that often links crystals solely with witchcraft or New Age practices, she brings something refreshingly different, grounded in scripture, rooted in prayer, and guided by the Holy Spirit. She reminds us that God created all things, even the stones, and they can be used in alignment with his word and not in rebellion against it. Hello, how are you?
Good, how about you?
Good. So tell me a little bit, Irish, about how you began to get involved in making jewelry, just jewelry as itself, because usually you think, oh, okay, that's done in like big factories, and I'm fascinated that people pick up hobbies like that. So first, tell me a little bit how you picked up that hobby.
Yeah. The first time I started making jewelry was because I have a friend who makes wire wrap jewelry as well. And I had seen an ad on TV for a wire wrap jewelry kit. So I asked her to teach me something first to see if I would even like it. And so she taught me how to do a simple weave. And from there, I went to YouTube videos and things like that and just took off with it. So that's how I started making jewelry. And funnily enough, at that time, I wasn't actually into crystals or anything because I was under the impression that they were for witchcraft only as well. And so that's how the jewelry side of things got started.
Like you said, you in the beginning also weren't interested in crystals. Can you tell us a little bit about like your spiritual background, like what denomination you are, and what was the view not only for yourself but maybe like your friends? Did everyone feel the same way about crystals?
Pretty much, yeah. I grew up Christian, not a denomination really. Most of my friends are skeptical of crystals, and a lot of my family members were. The reason why I got started in crystals was I was on a trip with my parents, and in the place we went to, there were a lot of crystal shops. And I've always been a collector of rocks because my grandpa and I would always collect rocks and share them, just because we liked them. And so I went there, I saw a rock that I liked. It was actually a man-made rock, but it does have healing properties to it. And it's goldstone. And it was really sparkly, and I was like, that's mine. So I got that, and I was holding it on the way home. And something about me is I usually have really high anxiety, especially if I'm in a city, because I can feel all the energy from everything, and it kind of overwhelms me. And so being in that city, it spiked my anxiety. And I was holding this stone on the way home, and I wasn't thinking anything of it. I just noticed I felt calm. And I was like, well, that's really weird because I'm never calm in these situations. And I didn't think anything of it until my dad asked me to hand him the stone because he wanted to look at it. And so I did. And slowly my anxiety started coming back. And I was like, huh, that's weird. And so out of curiosity, I was like, Dad, give me my stone back. And he was like, okay. And so I held it again. And then I started to be calm again. And I was really mellow. And I told them that, and they were like, well, that's interesting. So my dad took it back because he wanted to know if it worked for him. And it didn't really, but I'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, that's where my crystal journey began, on taking them back for Christ and taking it away from witchcraft.
And why do you think that it worked for you, but it really didn't work for your dad? Do you think that it has something to do about like what you're experiencing sometimes, or the level, or your vibration, or where you're at mentally? What do you think?
I think it's going to be a combination of a lot of things, but the best way I can describe it at the moment is like radios. You can have walkie-talkies, and there's multiple different channels on walkie-talkies. And if you're on channel 1, but crystals are on channel 2, they can talk all they want, but you're not going to feel or hear them, you know. And it's not to say that they don't exist or anything, like it's not legit. It's just that you're not tuned into that channel. And there's many different things that can cause that. It can be psychological blocks because of the way somebody grew up. It could be spiritual blocks. It could be all sorts of things.
So after you realized like, oh, wow, this really calmed me down, did you start exploring different types of crystals and some of the properties that people attribute to those crystals? Because I've always looked at crystals as things that like they just kind of enhance what's already there. I never, like I said, I didn't look at it necessarily like to protect me or anything, but I feel like they're valuable. What did you discover afterwards?
As you can imagine, it was really hard to explore crystals without running into all kinds of witchcraft stuff. So I was looking online for what would, you know, certain crystals do out of curiosity. And I was also doing my own experiments on myself by wearing certain crystals just to see what would happen. I have found that most stuff you find online is going to have some sort of witchcraft integrated into it. So you have to, if you go that route, you have to be really solid with the Lord to not get sucked into the wrong things with that. But like amethyst is actually good for my lower back pain. I'm not entirely sure if it's just like fatigue or what, but I have some pretty bad lower back pain. And if I get amethyst, not like a smoothed out amethyst, like one of the clusters of pointy parts amethyst, and I put that on my lower back and I put some slight pressure on it, make sure it's not sharp, but just some slight pressure, my pain will go away. And I found that out because I was looking into crystals and I got some crystal books and I've been blocking out the things that no one should be entertaining in the book, but I was keeping this more science-based type stuff. And one of them was saying, oh, you know, it's good for pain. And I was like, you know what? Let's just try it. Let's just see what happens. And it works. There are some times when it won't, because I think the kind of pain that I have is whatever it's caused by, that doesn't necessarily touch as well. And so you might have to go for like a crystal that's stronger than that one. But yeah.
And what did your family think when they heard that you were going to start using these crystals to make your jewelry?
My family, my parents and my grandma are more open to things than the rest of my family is, and even our friends. So when I was experimenting with these things, my parents, I was explaining to them what was going on, and so they knew I wasn't using any witchcraft. I was letting the stone naturally do what God created it to do. I wasn't telling it to do anything. I know some people like they set intentions in the stones and things like that. I don't do that. I'm like, you know what? God made it to do what it's going to do. So I'm going to let it do what it's going to do, you know? And they were okay with it. They were just like, you know, be careful, be sure you're not actually going to be participating in anything bad, and just, you know, see what happens. And so that's what I did. My friends, their friends are a different story. Some people think that you're crazy and or that you're a witch or something. Like if you try and talk to most Christians about anything like this, it's immediately don't touch it, change the subject. And I'm like, it's not bad, guys, come on. I think a lot of it is because of a lack of actual scientists exploring that. I know scientists do explore that because I've seen some files, but it's not like widely known. And then usually what happens is it's probably just a very brief study of, oh, this is interesting, but we're just going to go this far, and then they go on to something else. So I think people, for the most part, they don't understand that, they don't understand how it works, and so they're scared of it. And since it's associated with something bad originally, they just stay away from it instead of exploring it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna correct you in one thing. Originally, it's not bad. It's the trends that have kind of like picked up with using it. But like you said, and I think also what happens is things like that are crystals or things that talk about frequency, all of those things, like if you research things about the 1800s, they were using different like frequencies, like radio stations to heal people, like in holistic medicine. All that kind of information, I feel like it's been hidden, so that we aren't looking for natural ways and remedies to like uplift ourselves and become healthy. And like you said, if you can use it, for example, to get rid of certain pains versus taking a pill, just as an example, obviously, if you really need medication, you need medication, but it's something that helps. It can help us. And I feel like things like that are being taken away on purpose so that we're not able to feel like we can help ourselves. And just to go into biblical origins, originally, if you were to read Proverbs, it's they talk about rubies. I think in Lamentations they talk about sapphires, and everyone knows the story in Exodus that there was a high priest and he had the vest and it had the 12 stones to represent the 12 tribes of like Israel. So these things are mentioned in the Bible and it's mentioned for a purpose, but never as in to worship them or, like you said, to like give intentions to them. Just like you said, to let them do what they're meant to do. What has been your discovery as far as relating crystals to scripture?
One interesting thing that I found somewhat recently is all the stones that are in that breastplate of the priest. Scientists have, my understanding is, recently created the closest thing they can to pure light. So this would be the closest thing they can get to light that would be in heaven. And all of the stones that are under that light in the breastplate shine more brilliantly. And there's other stones that aren't in the breastplate that don't shine brilliantly. Like some people are like, oh, why didn't he put diamonds in there? Because everybody's obsessed with diamonds. Diamonds are gray under that light. They have no color. So every single stone, it's got to be for a reason. Every single stone that is in that breastplate can shine brilliantly under that light. And I find that very interesting. And I was just going to say, saying that you're worth more than rubies, I would find it hard to believe that they didn't have knowledge of the properties of crystals back in that day.
Yeah, I think, like I said, and like you also said, that these things were already well known, and I feel like it's just hidden and lost. And it's such a shame because, like you said, it's been demonized. When you think of making the jewelry and you're making and creating these earrings, what is your goal for, the connection between Christians wearing these kind of jewelry? Do you have like a vision of it becoming more commonplace in the future?
Oh yeah, for sure. I am going to start working on what I call meridian jewelry, because in Chinese medicine, there's meridians and acupressure points and things like that. And there are certain crystals that work with certain organs, and all your meridians connect to organs. So what I do is I figure out where a crystal likes to be on me and figure out what meridian that is. And then I can make jewelry specifically for that meridian. So it'll help better. Like you can place something, like you can just wear a necklace and that'll be fine. It'll do like a blanket helping, you know? But if you place it where it's specifically supposed to be, it would do so much more. So that's what I'm going to be working on too.
So, like for example, like if it's like if something in the wrist area that you're like, I don't know, imagine like you have a little bit of like pain in your wrist area, you can find a crystal that kind of works in that area, in that meridian, and it will be useful like a bracelet. What kind of jewelry do you normally make? Do you normally only make the pendants and the earrings, or are you doing any bracelets or necklaces?
A lot lately, I've been making pendants and earrings just because I've been going to shows and things, and it's easier to explain the pendants and earrings at the moment. But I also make bracelets and rings, and I'm working on arm cuffs and anklets and things like that. So, because your meridians go all over your body. I mean, they're everywhere. And waist beads as well, because there's some meridian stuff in your torso. So currently necklaces and earrings and bracelets are the main thing, but I'm working on getting the rest of it too.
So can you show us a couple, because I've seen the pictures on your page and they're absolutely beautiful. Can you show us a couple of them just to have a view of what it looks like? I also like that you show on your webpage how you create the jewelry as well.
Yeah. This is rose quartz, and this is one of the ones that I use for breathing because it helps me breathe better. I've always had some sort of a breathing issue growing up, and the doctors couldn't figure out what it was, but I've linked it to anxiety because that's when it shows up. And then there's this kind of a design as well as a necklace, and that one has green onyx on it and blue agate. And then let's see, I also do rings. I don't know if that'll show up properly or not. So those are a few that I have right next to me.
And who mostly are your clients? Do you normally sell a lot now to your friends? Have they changed their minds after seeing like your jewelry and how beautiful they are? Like, have you convinced them?
Funnily enough, a good chunk of my friends don't wear jewelry because they're all farm girls, and so wearing jewelry isn't really something they can do. But I do have one friend who's actually into crystals like I am, and she's a Christian, and so she'll wear jewelry and ask me where to put certain things. And my mom and grandma, I'll make jewelry for them. And my clientele at the moment is mainly people who don't know about crystals. So they don't know that they have special properties and things. There was one lady that I did sell to recently, and I was telling her, you know, because she bought a labradorite necklace. And I was telling her it was good for calming and sorting out negative energies. And she was really excited about that. So.
And how has working with crystals maybe increased your faith in God, just, you know, admiring all of these things that he has in this earth for us?
I've realized through this journey that God created everything with a frequency, which isn't something that you're taught. Like color has a frequency, sound has a frequency, crystals have frequency, everything has frequency. And it's just amazing, because there are some people that are like, oh, there's no God. And I'm like, how can you say that? I mean, everything has a frequency. It's so intricate. Everything is planned out. It's amazing. There's no way that God didn't create all this, And so it's brought me a better understanding of how he created things and how much he created for his people, like he put herbs on the earth and rocks on the earth to help heal his people naturally, and it's just amazing to see how much care and detail he puts into everything for those he loves.
And can you tell me, what is your favorite stone? Is there one that you love in particular? Because like I said before, like my favorite is the rose, and I also like the lapis lazuli. I forgot the name. Lapis lazuli. I don't remember the title. Yeah, I think it's called lapis lazuli. It's a blue. I think I actually have it here. It's a little blue one. I'll show you, and I like it because number one, the color. And it's very, I think it's just beautiful. And supposedly it's very good for like dreams. And I'm a big dreamer. So yeah, to remember your dreams. So what about you?
I've actually, just real quick, I've actually used lapis for headaches. I would get migraines from time to time, and I put some on my forehead and I left them there for a little bit, and the headache was gone. So that was interesting. But my favorites are shungite and labradorite. Shungite because I sent you a picture in the email, but I have shungite and steatite. And steatite, another name for that is soapstone. Like cylindrical looking sticks. And they are really good at helping me recharge is the best way I can explain it. Because like if I'm out in public in a city, like I was saying earlier, I get drained really fast, and certain areas have energy that's worse than others. And so sometimes it'll get pretty bad and I'll feel nauseous and dizzy and all sorts of things like that. I come back home and I pick up the shungite and steatite, and my hands start to get tingly and warm, and then I feel more energetic and I start to feel better, and the longer I hold them, the better I feel. And then eventually it gets to the point where my symptoms are gone. I'm perfectly fine, and I'm really calm and relaxed, almost like I just had a spa day. And so shungite I really like because it's good for a lot of things, including electromagnetic frequencies. So like frequencies you get from your phones or computers, things like that. I would always get migraines if I was on my phone or computer for a long time, but I found with shungite that I can stay on there longer and do what I need to do without getting a headache. And then labradorite. I've always loved labradorite. It's mainly for the colors because there's such a variety of color with those. It could be blue, green, yellow, purple, orange, all sorts of things. They're really cool. But also it's really calming for me because I got a labradorite ring before I started making them. And it was a really like almost aquamarine light blue color. And I wore that thing for so long because it's one of those lower frequency stones that you can wear for longer periods of time. And it always made me happy, I think, because colors have frequency, but there's also color healing and such too. So certain colors you resonate with more. It always made me happy wearing it, and I felt more calm when wearing that too. So those are a few of my favorite stuff.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Irish, for being with me today and sharing your insight on crystals and their reflection in our faith. And to learn more about Irish's workshop, your webpage, you can find the links in the podcast below. And if you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to sacredmindshift.com so you never miss an event or another exciting episodes that bring clarity and spiritual insight. Thank you so much, Irish, and God bless.
Yeah, thank you. See ya. Bye.